So Adam listed more of George's sins, including how he seduced the post-mistress at Hartley to intercept Mariah's letter. Obviously all these things were true. And George was like, how did you know? But then panicked. He now has to explain that, I was at an inn outside London and the local magistrate was there. He was with a box full of jewelry that were recovered from highwaymen that soldiers had captured. So George had seen Charles's ring in the box now of the box of jewelry, and I remembered it because it had a Celtic design that made it unique. After George claimed that the ring belonged to him, the magistrate allowed him to take it. George didn't know if Charles lost his life to the highwaymen. He just knew, he shall encounter highwaymen. He just came up with a plan to lie to Mariah that her father was dead so she could marry him. Any letter that might have given Mariah hope that her father was alive, George intercepted them. Hello, Novels and Bits listener. It's Monday. So nice to be here with you. Thank you for being here with me today. I appreciate you so much. Okay, I had the most magical weekend. It felt like a transformation because I was at this conference and it was like embodying everything abundance. I haven't come down from that high yet, and honestly, I don't want to. It was so amazing. Okay, so today we are thankfully concluding Love and a Lost Lord by Mary Jo Putney. Please, I haven't seen any reviews yet to read on the podcast. Please review and rate the podcast. It's really amazing when you do. Like, not just like rate it all, like write a note, say something about it. I'm actually going to test a couple of you to see, who already listen and say, please go about it like ABC, just in case. It's just good to have someone remind you, because I know life gets so busy, so it's understandable. Either ways, let's get into today's story and finish it. Okay, so we left off this story at the point where they came to London, like Mariah, the Duke, because Adam didn't have his memories for a while, but then his memories, it hadn't even come back, just that his friends found him in Hartley. They told him all about how he's a Duke, and then they all decided to go to London. Like Mariah was going to see her father's lawyer, but right now Mariah's father is dead, right? And she's just trying to get a hold of the lawyer to sort out like the property issue and anything that might be going on in that department. The lawyer hadn't been replying to her letters, so she wanted to go and meet him in person. That's why she agreed to go to London. But Adam actually brought her along because, he was thinking, I might as well just be betrothed to this woman. I might as well just be engaged to her, because even though she lied to me, she's still the only person I know, and I really am attracted to her. I really like her and stuff like that. And also, definitely, she's the only person he really knows. I mean, those his friends, he doesn't remember them or know them yet, even though he's had like dreams where, of himself interacting with them, but he doesn't know them. Mariah is the person he knows. Yeah, so he brought everybody came to London. Mariah's friend Julia came along, and now then in London, they're about to start a whole new adventure. Yeah, so some of the people that the characters, we're going to meet new characters because it's London. Yeah, so please be prepared for more like a splurge of plenty new characters. Okay, let's go. So the first person we're going to meet is Waf. Waf is Adam's valet, the guy who manages, a valet is someone who manages a gentleman's wardrobe. So that's Waf. So Major Randall, like Adam's friend Randall, the one who doesn't like Mariah, was the one who rescued Waf and his friend Reg when a group of rascals attacked them. At that time, Waf and Reg had just left the army after getting wounded, so they were sick and in no condition to defend themselves. It was Randall who brought Waf and Reg to Adam and asked him to give them jobs. So Ashton assigned the stables to Reg since he was good with horses, and brought a valet from an agency to train Waf on how to maintain a gentleman's wardrobe. Like, Adam's wardrobe is pristine. Oh my God. So even from time, Ashton, that's Adam, was the kind of person who used to value loyalty over credentials. Like, oh, this guy's will be loyal to me and stuff. And the thing is, true to that word, Waf and Ashton were closer than a typical valet and gentleman. It was because they were both a little different from the rest. Of course, we already know why Adam was different. He's half Hindu. But then Waf and his friend Reg were like, homosexuals, stuff like that. And you can't be that in that time. You'll be killed. Nowadays, they'll slaughter these things inside books. Tire me. But at least it's very mild. Just jump over and pass. Now, Adam was marveled at his grand wardrobe. Like I said, Waf learned very well how to, maintain a gentleman's wardrobe. Waf showed Adam to his secret room which was actually a Hindu shrine. No one except Waf knew about the Hindu shrine. That room represented the secret side of Adam that only he and Waf knew about. According to Waf, Adam considered himself both a Christian and Hindu. It's not something he expected people to understand. That's why he never talked about it. So for Adam, discovering that he had hidden so much of himself, he wanted to rediscover his forgotten self before making a final commitment to Mariah. One thing was sure though, he knew he always wanted to be with her. Unfortunately, devastating news soon came. Like, Adam was betrothed to his second cousin, Jenny. It was his aunt, Georgiana, that Jenny's Georgiana's daughter. So it was his aunt, Georgiana, that broke the news. Adam asked his friends if this was true, but they didn't know for sure since it was so private. They could only confirm that you're quite fond of Jenny. She's the closest female in your life and stuff like that. So for the first time, Adam was like, guy, I wish I'd married Mariah before coming to London. At least the most you say is, sorry, I forgot. Do you understand? Because I had amnesia. But now, you cannot marry now that they've told you that there was another woman before this one you liked. Unfortunately, Jenny was at her aunt's house in the country, grieving for Adam. So he couldn't even ask her directly after our proposal now. She was also recovering from a sickness. So it would take some time, like a sickness that made her look so pale and this. So it would take some time before she would return to London. Since she no longer had any reason to remain in London, because obviously she was still there as, this guy's fiance, and something might still work out between them, but seeing that he has woman, Mariah was like, let me see my lawyer fast and leave. So she told Ashton about it. He was unhappy, but he's like, okay, I'll just help you with the lawyer. But first he took her to his secret room because he wanted to at least share that part of himself with her. So he hadn't even shown it to Jenny, and he knew that he doubted he had. So passion caught up with them because they're just two people who really like each other. They're in a private space. They kissed a lot, but they were like, let's not spend time in private again. So Ashton invited Mariah for a ride in the park, and I think that was the next day. At the ride, while they were on the ride, there was a rifleman in the trees. He shot at Adam, but thankfully he only grazed him. But Mariah was also put in harm's way. There was a retired military man on the scene, and then he chased the rifleman. But since the park was such a public space, the rifleman slipped away. The military man was John Stillwell, a retired general. He was a much applauded military hero, although he was modest about it. John Stillwell knew Ashton's father in India and asked to visit Ashton at his house. Like, can I visit? So Ashton agreed. It didn't escape Mariah's notice that Adam and his groomsman, like another guy that came with them, they had not seemed surprised by the attack. So she was like, what's up with that? People were not surprised that this attacking. So Adam had to confess that his friends thought someone was trying to kill him. So he wanted Mariah to return home fast so that she could be safe. But it's now Mariah was like, I can't leave, knowing that you're in danger. These two. We know you love each other, so I don't know why they're prolonging all this pain by bringing another woman between both of you. But let's be going. So more of Ashton's memory returned after they came back to the house. Lady Agnes sent a letter. So as he read it, most of his memories from childhood came back. He remembered, not really childhood, more like his school days came back. He remembered how he'd become like family with his friends and everything. So Mariah was with him when this was happening, and there was only a little bit left for him to remember and possibly move on without her. So because of this, she was like, oh my God, I have the craziest idea. So she asked her friend Julia, who is more into medicine than her, for contraceptive methods she could use so that, she could sleep with Adam. Julia was non-judgmental. She didn't even ask why Mariah wanted to know this. Obviously, she knew, but she just didn't ask. She supplied Mariah with the information she needed. Mariah didn't want to have regrets. That was why she wanted to do this. She wanted him for just one night, and Jenny could have him for the rest of his life. For the visit to the lawyer, Ashton and Mariah, they rode a plane carriage so they wouldn't announce that the Duke was passing through. They fortified the security at the manor too, and they employed many former soldiers as guards. So the Ashton place was literally crawling with guards just because of the threat on Adam's life. So Mariah's father's lawyer didn't know Charles was even dead, like Mariah's dad was dead, because her father had come to him 2 months before saying, I would like to make changes to my will, but he never got to it. Like, he never got to actually make those changes. So Mariah was still the sole inheritor. Mariah was like, who else did my father want to add to this will? Also, if this lawyer did not send me the letter, who did? The letter even had his stamp, or rather, it's called letterhead, but let's just say stamp, at least proof to show that this letter came from the lawyer. So Mariah asked about the letter she'd sent him, but I've been sending letters on call. I wrote about 4 of them. The lawyer said, I did not receive even one, no. And since the post office was in a shop in Hartley, Adam and Maria suspected George Buck, that guy now that was trying to get Maria to marry him at the beginning. They suspected him of bribery and intercepting the letters. For Maria, this meant that letters from her father could have been intercepted too from reaching her, and he might be alive. So she was now like, can I dare to hope? So to find out the truth about Charles Clark, like about Maria's dad, Adam decided to track George Buck down. He was glad he had the money and authority to do so. By the time they returned to Ashton House, General Stilwell was there with his wife and daughter, who turned out to be Adam's mother and sister. So the authorities had lied to Adam that his mother died, so he wouldn't consider returning to India. His mother had been pregnant with his sister when his father died, and Adam was taken away. So both children were so beautiful, dark-haired, dark coloring, fine children, because his mother was so fine. And, she looks like he remembered her from his dreams, because he saw her in his dreams too. So when his mother called him Darshan, like Adam's mom, that's her name, Lakshmi, she called him Darshan, his middle name. She's the only one that used to call him that thing. By her doing so, a whole flood of memories flowed. So he now remembered his childhood very well. His father, how his father taught him how to ride elephants, how they used to build things together, the long journey to England when he was taken away. So he remembered everything. And General Stilwell had remarried Adam's mother years after his father died. And then he brought her to England not so long ago. They just come to England. And when they came, they heard that Adam was dead. But thankfully, he's not dead. They came to see him. So they had 2 more children. General Stilwell and Lakshmi had 2 more children. So Adam had 3 siblings in total, like 2 half-siblings. And then his biological sister, Kiri. So it was a powerful reunion, from having no family to having a lot of them. General Stilwell hadn't expected Adam to accept his mom and his sister, because he was thinking, the authorities must have brainwashed this guy so that he'll be ashamed of his heritage. And in truth, there were times Adam acted badly towards another foreigner. So he refused to mix with them so that he could be the perfect Englishman. Recalling those memories made Adam feel ashamed. So Adam invited all his family to dinner the next evening. Adam invited the full family, both, they have siblings that he hadn't met yet, and the General Stilwell, his mom and his sister, to come around again the next evening. His head was hurting at the time, so he's like, I need to just, I'm so happy, but my head I need to take a break and, soak up all these things I've learned. So Maria saw them out, that's the thing. Maria and Adam are always working like a team. Like, someone who sees them for the first time will actually assume they're already married, because, they always kind of this person is doing this, the other person is like taking charge. Like, they're always working like a team, and it's really fine to watch. And it's also painful knowing that these two know they're going to part. Like, the eventuality of it makes it so painful. Do you get? So Adam, the thing is that all of the memories Adam was recalling, they were all clamoring for space in his head, and the thing was just hot in his head. But regardless, he was really happy for all the good things that happened to him in a short time. Unfortunately, his memories still pointed to the fact that I've always been fond of Jenny, because Maria had to ask, so do you remember Jenny now? He said, that was fond of how Maria was hot, but she hid it. Then she asked if he had any clue now as who was trying to murder him. He's like, I don't know, because I didn't lead a double standard life. And the truth is, I don't remember Hal ever being a suspect, because that guy cannot lie. He doesn't have devious bone in his body. That's his second cousin, like Jenny's brother. So after Maria caught Randall, apparently the Randall was no longer suspicious of her anymore, after everything now. Like, obviously, he can't see this girl is good and stuff. So Maria caught Randall and Will up on the recent happy event. Oh my God, Adam has a family, and, all of those things. So they returned to the topic of the likely murder on the loose. The chief suspect was Shipley, who was on the yacht, one of the crew people on the yacht, but his body was never found. That same day, Maria got the address of where Jenny was staying and wrote her a letter, because she's like, that she was just trying to be a good person. And she just wrote that. And she wrote in this tone of a headmistress or senior housekeeper. So it don't look like she's even interested in the Adam. She just said, Jenny, I heard you're sick. How are you? Please, can you return to London soon so that you can be by your betrothed side? So she just... when women, we can shout do this thing. You don't really want to, obviously you want to be with this guy, but it's not possible. And you're like, maybe if I join him closer to the other woman, maybe I would find some closure. Like, I don't even know. But she should try to be good and invited Jenny over. They were saying that Jenny was sick and this and that. But she wrote letter to Jenny. After Adam slept, he found out that he no longer had the head pain and he could remember his life entirely. Because Adam had to sleep now. His head was paining him. They get. So he found out that he could remember his life entirely, except the months leading up to the yacht explosion. He was grateful to remember his father and love for the wonderful life they had in India before news of the inheritance came and disrupted everything. So Adam also remembered young John Stillwell, like the person, that General Stillwell. So Adam remembered him too from when he was small, that he was actually with them in India. Now that he could review the details of his life, Adam just considered his near-death experience as a silver lining because it helped him to fully accept his Indian nature. He used to hide it in a bid to be more English, and that was why he had never fallen in love until Mariah. He never let himself be open enough. Even for that measure, he wouldn't have been opened up enough to actually fall in love with Mariah. Adam used to think that his Hindu side and mixed heritage were a burden that he had to bear alone, but no more. And concerning Jenny, he just remembered that he loved her like a sister. Could he have fallen in love with her in the months before the explosion? Like the months that he could not remember. Well, since he was betrothed to her now, he had to marry her. That was the English gentleman's code of honor. It was the middle of the night, but Adam knew his friends would be up talking and drinking in Randall's rooms because now his memory has come back, so he remembered what they used to do. So he went to meet them there, invited them to see his secret room. To his surprise, they'd known all along about his Hindu side and accepted it. It was because he never discussed being Hindu. They never brought it up. Like, though, we shall like you like that. Adam and his friends brainstormed further to narrow down who wanted him killed. They did agree that his cousin, how Lovewood had the best motive to murder him, but to prove that it was Hal, if it's indeed him, they needed proof. Since Adam was holding a dinner party for his newly found family and inviting Hal and his mother, he asked Randall to use his powers of persuasion on Hal because Randall can be scary. It's like, maybe it would work. By morning, Mariah went shopping with her friend Julia. She wanted to relax after all the drama of the previous days. They hadn't taken a carriage and footman because they were doing, no, we don't really want to bother anybody. But now, after buying everything, they were like, guy, how are we going to carry this? Everything is falling. So fortunately, they ran into Hal, that same cousin, Adam's cousin Hal. And then he loaded their things into his carriage and he treated them to lunch. He was just so hard to dislike. Like, he's such a likable person. They talked, them and Hal talked. And then they just found out that this guy has never been interested. Not even really. He's never been interested in the dukedom because he found the responsibilities that came with it boring. He loved horses and he kept detailed records of horses he owned. That was his major interest. So Mariah decided that Hal was either an honest man or the most dangerous liar in London. When Mariah saw Adam after they returned from the shopping, he had changed because now all his memories are back. And that he just changed his essence. He was no longer confused and he no longer had amnesia. So now he was a duke, fully a duke that wore power and authority like his flawless custom coats or suits anyone. So Mariah knew without doubt that, time has come for me to go back to where I was coming from. You understand? But she wanted to go with her friend the morning after the dinner party. So General John Stillwell and his entire family, they came to visit that evening for dinner. Not the dinner party. The dinner party was like the following day or so. So Adam's mother, Lakshmi, she gave birth to beautiful children, all four of them, including Adam's half-siblings. The children Lakshmi had with General John, all four of them were just so fine. Do you get? And as if they inherited the best of English and Hindu blood. And they were just all talking, so animated, they were all so excited to get to know each other. And it was really beautiful. Adam's house was just so full, knowing he had such a large and wonderful family. When Mariah just asked the general on the side, do you worry that your children will face intolerance in London? Because it's a valid question. They're mixed. Adam is facing threat on his life just for being mixed. Do you understand? So his siblings would not escape some form of intolerance. So he said, I worry because of my parents. But I knew they will also face it in India over time. And also, as a duke's daughter and sister, Adam's sister, Kiri, she deserves to benefit from the dukedom. And then they have brother and sister. They would also benefit by extension, even though they're not directly related to just still related to Adam. All of them will benefit just from the dukedom. So it was best to just bring all of them to England. They've learned about their Indian heritage. Let them learn their Hindu heritage. It's now time to learn about their English heritage too. The next day, information reached Adam that they located George Burke. And he went with his friends to the inn where George was staying. It was a shabby inn. Adam reminded George of how he'd bullied Mariah and tried to marry her so her inheritance could fall into his hands once again. When George claimed that he had left once he found out she wasn't married and hadn't harmed her in any way, Adam reminded her that he lied about her father's death. Adam asked if George murdered Charles Clark. George explained that, the last time I saw this bastard, because obviously now he's pained that the man took his house. I beg. So now it's found that the last time that he saw Charles was at Charles' lawyer's office to transfer the ownership of Hartley Manor. It was while he was there that he stole some of the lawyer's stationery so he could write to Maria as a lawyer and announce her father's death. So George had wanted Maria to feel alone in the world and naturally run into his arms, and that almost worked. Very bad person. So Adam listed more of George's sins, including how he seduced the post-mistress at Hartley to intercept Maria's letter. Obviously all these things you are trying. George was like, how did you know? But then panicked. He now has to explain that, I was at an inn outside London and the local magistrate was there. He was with a box full of jewelry that were recovered from highwaymen that soldiers had captured. So George had seen Charles's ring in the box now of the box of jewelry, and I remembered it because it had a Celtic design that made it unique. After George claimed that the ring belonged to him, the magistrate allowed him to take it. George didn't know if Charles lost his life to the highwaymen. He just knew he shall encounter highwaymen. He just came up with a plan to lie to Maria that her father was dead so she could marry him. Any letter that might have given Maria hope that her father was alive, George intercepted them. You get. So Adam punished George. He placed a hand on his shoulder. The movement looks casual, but Adam's fingers beat into carefully chosen blood vessels that hurt like hell. And then George was now like, crying like one baby. So George's hearing, Adam and his friends wanted to scare George. So they now started discussing what they could do to him. They could lay charges, but the court would take too long. They could put him on a ship to clean decks, like a ship that would just go in and he would just be a deckhand. But the reason that George could talk his way out of it. They could also murder him and they could all testify it was self-defense. And the thing is, these are gentlemen, so they can't do it. And they will get away with it. And George knew it, so he was afraid. Adam was just messing with him. Eventually, they booked a place on a ship leaving England. That day. They said, George, you're leaving England today. Adam gave him £200, which is still a lot of money in our time. So imagine that time. That was plenty of money. He told him, see, go and start a new life elsewhere and never return to England. If you did, your life would be at risk. That's how they dealt with George. His own has passed. That night, Mariah decided to seize the opportunity and do the deed, So that the next night was a dinner party, and then her and Julia returned to Hartley the morning after. So that was all the chance she had. It was a stormy night, and it was perfect for her intentions. She was ready for Adam to reject her all, but he didn't when she arrived in his bedroom. He didn't feel like he was betraying Jenny because he didn't feel like he was betrothed to Jenny. Mariah was the woman he wanted. They made sweet love, and afterwards they were all saying I love you, but it was teary because nothing could come out of it. You get. So during the early hours of the morning, while it was still dark and the rain was pouring, the couple was making love again with Adam on top. Mariah was beneath. So Mariah just happened to open her eyes to see Adam's face with a low lamp light. So instead, she saw a man in dark clothes behind Adam with a raised knife to kill him. She screamed and kicked the man. So on the back of his hand, the man had a tattoo of his skull. Adam fought this man naked and completely unarmed. To help, Maria had to pull the bell rope to allow people in the house. From the brief conversation that Adam had with the man, he discovered the man wanted to kill him, both because somebody was paying him to do it and because he despised Adam's missed blood. So Waff and Murphy came in soon through Adam's dressing room and they shot at the man. They came immediately, like not long after Maria pulled that bell rope. So the man was wounded. Do you get? Like the intruder was wounded, but not fatally. So he managed to escape through the window that he'd come in through. When they had more people coming, Adam asked Waif and Murphy to help get Maria. Say, Waif. I'm talking about the same person. Please don't buy my pronunciation. So when they had more people coming, Adam asked Waff and Murphy to help get Maria away without being seen. They grabbed her things and her and they fled. They were loyal servants of Ashton, so they could be counted on to keep the fact that Maria was with Adam a secret. The murderer had been so silent that if Maria hadn't been with Adam, the knife might have ended up in his heart. It was Maria who spotted the assassin, kicked him, gave them a chance to escape. He hated to imagine himself dead from knife wounds and Maria getting raped and killed. From the skull tattoo, Randall now confirmed that the assassin is Shipley. They now knew for sure that it's not so. So it's now confirmed that Shipley is the assassin. Later that morning, Adam was in his office when he was informed the gentleman was insisting on seeing him. It was Charles Clark, Maria's father, the one they thought was dead. His right arm was in a sling and he looked angry. So Adam sent for Maria. And while Maria was on her way, Adam had to explain to Charles that, Maria saved my life. She's an honored guest in my house. And she's with her friend Julia, who is there as chaperone. Because the father was suspecting that this man is doing things to my daughter. Which is doing but not without consent, Okay, let's move on. So Charles had come from his lawyer's office and his lawyer had informed him that Maria came to see him with a duke who was watching her like she was his prisoner. I'm a ball lawyer. So Maria hadn't replied to Charles' letters for weeks too. So he had been worried. Do you get? So hearing that thing, he rushed to the house, started demanding what is going on, what are you doing to my daughter? So Maria appeared in time. She was in a pretty peach gown. And then she was shocked and she was so happy to see her father. She hugged him tight. He held onto her tight with his left hand that was still free. So he was like, tell me the truth. Did this Duke ill use you? Maria had to be like, it's nothing like that, Daddy. They sat on the leather sofa in Adam's office to talk. Adam joined in their conversation, but he took the chair opposite the sofa. So Charles' real last name was Townsend. He was the son of the Earl of Torrington. His father had disowned him many years ago because he was so wild. At 18 years old, he eloped to Gretna Garden. That Gretna Garden that Adam wanted to elope to with Mariah. They will marry. Apparently, marrying like that is scandalous, but depending on your station in society, you can survive the scandal. And obviously, Duke can. Do you get? But anyhow, that was how Charles and his wife, Anna, that's Mariah's mother, that's how they got married. They eloped to Gretna Garden. They got married there. And both their families were scandalized as a result. So it was a big scandal. So in the past few weeks that Charles was not with Maria, he had been able to reconcile with his father, who died shortly after. His eldest brother was a new Earl. An Earl is a very grand rank. I think it's just directly beneath a Duke. And then a Viscount rank follows. So it's a big deal. So Maria had to ask, so father, where have you been now? So she just quickly caught him up on the whole George Buck ordeal and his trickery and how she'd come to London as Ashton's guest. She suitably edited the story, obviously. And then added that she and Julia, that they were returning to Hartley the next day on a carriage that Ashton was loaning them. She invited her father to accompany them back, but he had another bomb to drop. So the bomb he had to drop was that he just invited Maria and Adam. Like he didn't want to invite Adam more, but Maria had just said, Adam, come now. Then like Ashton, come, that kind of thing. And he not say no because he wanted to sit her and he wanted to be next to Maria, obviously. So Charles took Maria and Adam to a house a few streets away to meet none other than Maria's mother and Maria's, wait for it, identical twin sister. Her twin sister's name was Sarah, like the Sarah in her imagination. Like, that her Sarah friend in her thoughts now. But her twin sister was not perfect like that Sarah then that is always criticizing her. Her twin sister was much more likable. And their gowns, they even wore the same color of gown. Like, that kind of coincidence, that peach color. So Maria's mother, Anna, resembled her and her sister. Mariah's parents, and how they'd been separated for so many years is that Mariah's parents had a fight when she was 2 years old, when the twins were 2 years old. And in anger, her mother had told her father not to return. In his ego, he agreed. Even though he had realized soon enough that was foolishness, he still stayed away because he wanted to make something of himself before returning. So Mariah's mother, Anna, was an heiress whom everyone believed Charles married for wealth. Like, this man married you because you have money. So he wanted to prove to them and his father that they are wrong about him not having any substance. Do you get? And the truth is, Charles could have taken both twin girls. That was his legal right. But he only took Maria. And he left Sarah with her mother. And Maria's mother was grateful though. Like, Anna was grateful. But she still longed to see her other daughter again, like Maria, and thankfully it's coming to pass. So Charles said things to his wife like, they've never been anybody else. And that wasn't entirely true because he'd had affairs that Maria knew of. But they were short-lived, and Mariah didn't see the need of letting her mother know that. Smart girl, to just cause another wahala. About the sling that Charles was wearing on his right hand, he had indeed been robbed by highwaymen. But he'd foolishly put up a fight for the ring. It was because it was his wife that gave him that ring. But they still stole the ring and broke his arm. So Anna read about the robbery on a newspaper and went to visit the inn the victims were staying at. That's where she reunited with him. So Charles had written concerning all this to Maria, but because of God George now, waiting you do, she did not get those letters. Adam informed Charles that George was encouraged to leave England for the colony, so he'd been dealt with, encouraged. Before he left, Adam just invited them to, there's a dinner party holding this evening, all of you are welcome. Time for the dinner party. Now, this is the peak of the novel. So, you're with me, yes? So, in his coat, Adam had a pistol ready and loaded in case there was any trouble. He felt like a soldier going into war, like this premonition of something is going to happen in this party. I need to be ready. And it's also a mixed feelings night because you're being grateful, but then the woman you love would leave after today and all that kind of thing. So, all the families been good well together. Everybody was amazed to see two Marias, especially the guys. Like, ooh, they're two Marias. Oh my gosh, she's a twin. That kind of thing now. So also, Mariah's status was elevated now. that she was established as a granddaughter and niece of an earl, she could become a duchess, and it would be easy because she has met his station. But there was still Jenny. The only person who was standing on her own in the party was Aunt Georgina, because everybody was mixing. She'd never been particularly warm, but her temper had worsened after Adam's uncle died. She was even looking at Lakshmi, like Adam's mother, as someone beneath her. Like, what's that? But then Adam understood that it's just normal prejudice. He didn't really take it as a big deal. Then Lady Agnes joined the party. Ooh, like she just came in from traveling. She traveled all the way to make it for the party. And she had met Jenny on her way in. But Jenny wanted to freshen up before joining the party. So Jenny was on ground. Yeah? You're seeing all the things happening together. So at the height of the party, one of the servers that Maria had earlier felt something was off about. She had earlier felt it too. So the server turned around and tried to stab Adam, but Maria shouted, "That's it, Maria, saving his life." The server missed. He was just able to tear the clothes more. So Adam dropped his pistol. Instead of dropping his weapon, like the Shipley guy grabbed Maria, set the knife to her throat. His eyes looked mad. So Shipley lets everyone know that they have to kill this slut, that she's a slut for opening her leg to a hitting man. Hey, Jesus. Everybody will know that something has happened between both of you. Hey, so embarrassing. Sarah tried to confuse Shipley and said, that could have been me, but Shipley was just out for blood. He started dragging Maria towards the exit, and everybody knew that if you got her out that door, she was a dead woman. So Adam waited for one slight moment when Shipley's head turned to the side of the room. Thankfully, Maria's head didn't reach his chin, and with precision, he fired a pistol, and Shipley dropped dead. But then, in the process, the knife sliced Maria's throat small. So she stayed on the ground because she thought, I am probably mortally wounded. I'm going to die. But after the latest Shipley of Maria, Julia confirmed the wound wasn't deep. Jenny came forward and confirmed that, so you're the Maria who sent a letter to me inviting me to come to London right away. Apparently, Jenny had never been ill. Meanwhile, the event shook Adam so badly that he decided, I cannot lose Maria. He now turned to Jenny and told her, we have to discuss our betrothal. Jenny was like, but we're not betrothed. Like, we're not, you understand, we're not engaged. Then a new memory now arose in Adam's mind. Jenny had been crazy about someone else and came to ask him for his approval. He just listened and offered advice, and Jenny had been so grateful that she kissed him. There was nothing romantic between them ever. And Georgina had lied because she thought she was doing what was best for her daughter. Emphasis on her daughter. Everybody else would just come. She didn't want some fortune-hunting trollop, aka Maria, to get Ashton. It was then that Hal spoke up. So it was even Hal that was initially the suspect in all these things that brought out the real suspect. He remembered that it was his mother who hired Shipley to their house at first. The other servants had always hated the Shipley guy because he was a brute. So obviously the guy has always been mad. But Georgiana, the two judges in this story, they're just wicked, useless people. The first judge, Vok, that they've sent abroad, this Georgiana woman, very evil woman. So they understand, but Georgiana had hired him, has still hired the Shipley, even though the other servants hated him because he was ex-army and she knew his family. Hal point blank asked his mother, did you hire Shipley to kill Adam? How could you when Adam was like a son to you? So that was when Georgiana fully exposed herself. She's like, Adam was no son to me, and I did it for you. How? She was full of hatred. Like, you can feel how much hate and venom was coming out of her. She was talking. She had wanted her husband to get rid of Adam as a boy so that he could become the duke and she a duchess. But her husband had been appalled by the idea. So Adam asked more questions, saying she was talking. He asked how she found Shipley. Her family hired his in Ireland. When he came to London and she discovered he hated heating blood, she asked him to make Adam's death look like an accident. But when that didn't work, he took a direct approach. Everybody was too shocked to speak, except Hal. He and his sister hadn't wanted what she wanted to give them. This whole, I did it for you. She's like, but wait, we did not even want what you wanted. I did not want to marry Adam. And the other one, I did not want to be duke. You know his horses I want. Like, he was so ashamed of her. For the sake of his cousins, Adam decided that she returned to Ireland and never set foot in England until her death. Until literally, got old in front of all their eyes. Because now, they've exposed you. And it's your son that did it. It fits you very well. If she ever returns, she'll be hanged. The offer was even too generous. His cousins thanked him. Hal escorted her out, calling her Madame. No more mom, Madame. So Lady Agnes lightened the mood by inviting everybody to eat. Mariah excused herself. So Julia went with her to attend to her neck wound. And then Julia returned to the party. But Mariah stayed in her room. The entire families knew Mariah had slept with Adam. But since they were family, they would likely hold their tongue. At least that was what Mariah was hoping for. So they handed over the investigation to the magistrate, and Adam said goodbye to his guests, except the Townsends, because he was avoiding Maria's father. Because the man's suspicions is not true, because it's suspected that Adam and his daughter slept together, and now it came out now, and it's confirmed. Then at midnight, he went to Mariah in her room. Like when he was able to calm down and everything, went to Mariah in her room. He didn't want to bother her because, she was sleeping, so he just laid beside her. But Mariah woke up easily because she's been sleeping since. And she's like, please tell me today's over. He was like, it's past midnight, so it's over. So Adam was tired and sleepy, but he wanted to sleep next to her. He proposed to her. And Mariah replied, you see, you're not obligated to marry me just because you hadn't been engaged to Jenny. Adam assured her plenty times that he loved her, that would not change. Mariah was still uncertain. Like, are you sure? Are you sure? Plenty times, but this, but that. And uncertainty actually hurts people, really. Like when you're doing a guy, I don't know if I should or if I should. And you're thinking it's normal. The guy will feel like, guy, what is this thing? But in his case, I was able to understand. Maria had a very uncertain life. Do you understand? And with everything that happened, the scandal that happened, like she's just in that place of, I don't know. But he was finally able to persuade her, so they'll get married. And it's such a good end to a story. And please let me know if you really enjoyed this story. Like, I know it was so long, so many stories and side stories, but I would love to hear what you think. And would you like to hear about other stories in this series? Let me know. Thank you.